Our next witness, appearing as an individual, Sheila Fraser, the former Auditor General of Canada. Welcome to the committee. Do you have an opening statement, Ms.
Yes,
Fraser?
I do.
Well, please proceed.
Thank you. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I'm very pleased to be here, and I would like to thank you for the invitation to appear before the committee with regards to a study on Bill C-23. I would like to emphasize that my comments are mine alone. I do not represent the Chief Electoral Officer, Elections Canada, nor the advisory committee to that organization, which I co-chair. In the interest of full disclosure, I would like to advise the committee that I have received an amount of $2,450 for my participation to date on that advisory committee. I have also been engaged as a member of boards of selection for various positions within Elections Canada and was paid $976 in 2014 and $3,240 in 2012 for those services.
Serving as the Auditor General of Canada for a 10-year term, which ended close to 3 years ago. The Auditor General is one of 7 officers of Parliament who play a very important role in our democratic system. The Privy Council Office refers to these officers as agents of Parliament and states, and I quote, "Agents of Parliament are a unique group of independent statutory officers who serve to scrutinize the activity of government. They report to Parliament rather than to government or an individual minister, and as such exist to serve Parliament in relation to Parliament's oversight role. Agents normally produce a report to Parliament to account for their own activities, and their institutional heads are typically appointed through special resolutions of the House of Commons and the Senate. To maintain the independence of the agent, the degree of influence exercised by the executive arm of government is minimal." End of quote. L'indépendance des agents du Parlement, tant concrète qu'apparente, est...
The independence of the officers of Parliament, both in fact and in appearance, is critical to their credibility and their reliability, to carry out the mandates entrusted to them. I was very pleased that government recognized the importance of independence in 2007-2008 when a number of administrative policies were amended to recognize that it is the officer of Parliament who is responsible for implementing these policies and ensuring compliance with them rather than, as was previously stated, a minister. The Treasury Board Secretariat worked out very cooperatively with the offices of the time to address their concerns. In light of that, as I do say, the Treasury Board Secretariat worked very cooperatively with the officers of the time to address our concerns.
Bill, which would affect the independence of the Chief Electoral Officer and his organization. First, Article 18 that restricts the Chief Electoral Officer's communication with the public to certain specified, limited information. Outreach activities encouraging people to vote and educational initiatives would no longer be permitted. An independent officer of Parliament should be able to bring any issue that he or she believes important to the attention of Parliament and the public. Secondly, Article 20 will now require the Chief Electoral Officer to obtain Treasury Board approval to, quote, "fix and pay the remuneration and expenses of persons having technical or specialized knowledge," end of quote, engaged on a temporary basis. This is clearly an infringement on the independence of the Chief Electoral Officer. In comparison, the Auditor General Act explicitly states that the Auditor General does not require the approval of the Treasury Board. In addition, the government's contracting policy specifically exempts the officers of Parliament from obtaining Treasury Board approval. I am also concerned that should this article be adopted, it could create operational difficulties for Elections Canada in managing an election, given the hundreds of people with specialized assistance that it requires. In
2005, the Office of the Auditor General conducted a performance audit on the operations of Elections Canada. At that time, we concluded that Elections Canada plans, manages, and administers the federal electoral process well, according to applicable authorities, and that it plays a key role in supporting the fairness, and transparency of the electoral process. I encourage the committee to ensure that the proposed legislation does not alter that.
My opening remarks. As a final remark, I would like to thank the clerk of the committee and the Senate staff for their assistance to me in preparing the statement, and I would be pleased to answer any questions that committee members may have.
Thank you very much.